Osiris.
We're doing it live.
What are we doing live? Oh, geez.
Last one, unfortunately. That's what we're doing live.
No, this is so sad.
Today, we are here. This is another episode of Always Almost Megan.
Yay! I don't know what that would be like, but it sounds kind of crazy. I feel like this means I need to come on your podcast, is what this means.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I just have to learn more about Goose.
You're getting there.
Oh, you know plenty already. Yeah, you're getting. I mean, you just watched the whole tour, so
yeah, you know more than the average fan at this point, I think.
Right.
We'll see.
And hey, Kev's here today.
Oh, what's going on?
Kevin.
Hi, Kev.
Even Kev.
Even Kev's here today.
We're very excited. Unfortunately, RJ could not make it today. We are very sad that he could not be here to talk about, his experience at the show last night. But I think he's still in the hospital from dancing too hard during Rockdale.
Or crying too much, probably.
It was injuries sustained during Rockdale, I believe.
Yeah.
But we love you, RJ, and we wish you were here. But we can talk about last night's show. We watched, we listened. It was good.
It was a good show, and it was the end of it all, the end of the tour, which is so bittersweet. Because it was such a fun show, but this is it. It's over for now.
We've heard a lot of for now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what that means, and we're hoping that we're going to get a nice batch of Goose Winter Tour dates announced in the next little while. And hopefully, this isn't the last time we see Taboos because this was amazing. And,
now we have to officially use that name since they used it too last night. In Lama.
It's been used by many. I think it definitely has a better ring to it than Truce. Or a lot of the other names that were floating around. I think Taboos it rolls off the tongue nicely.
Yeah.
I think
it's the best of bad things combination.
I think now Pollock is trying to make Jatab be a thing. But it's not. I don't know. It's not good.
If we're forcing two words together, it's the least offensive.
Exactly.
Forcing two words together.
Exactly.
I read Not Pollux as almost like an Australian thing, like Gitab.
Oh yeah.
There's an apostrophe in there.
Gitab.
Gitab. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the show. It looked like everyone in the venue was having a great time. Obviously, nice flopener to get us started last night.
Are we going to just keep combining words in this terrible way?
This is an existing thing. It appears in
I don't
coach's
like
notes.
flopener. I just want to say that
use it
as a term. Okay, thank you. I'm not going to use it either, Brian.
Okay, well,
Continue,
flow down
Brian,
opener. I noted on the lgoose.net because that's how Coach notes it. So got to defer to the man. But flopener. I'll say it again. But some of the usual interesting Rick delay knob fiddling tricks. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, not quite as extensive as they've taken that intro. This year, we got a lot of really extended intros. So, which isn't surprising. I mean, you got 90 minutes. The clock's running. So, you gotta be very thoughtful of how you use that time. But I was honestly actually even surprised to see Flow Down. I suppose it was due. But yeah, I think it was, like you said, Ryan, I mean, I think, fairly short, and then into the pancakes. And so I think that was the first sign of, okay, yeah, I mean, it's going to be, if not all bangers, mostly bangers. It's the final night. I think we were all wondering a little bit about, is there going to be anything different in terms of how sit-ins are treated, set times, maybe even things like that. But so I think pancakes was just the first sign of, all right, let's see where this goes. And that pancakes jam, by the way, last thing I'll say about this is, really nice jam. Probably one of the better jams of the night. And I think when we get into the rest of the set list, tonight was a little bit different in that regard as well. But yeah, the Pancakes really, really got things going. I mean, that jam got hot.
Yeah, I agree. I think Flowdown's cool too. It's like reminds me of like an early Fish song with like lots of different composed sections that all kind of sound a little different and have a lot of like different vibe to each little section. It's cool. I heard that. I think they played it in Mohegan too.
Yes.
And that was the first time I really heard that song. So that was cool to hear it as an opener too. But I thought the Pancakes, like that to me was when they seemed to be like, okay, we're here to play tonight. Like we're going to push a little harder tonight. We're going to really like start attacking the set. And I thought that jam and Pancakes had great peaks. Really great.
I love that we're here in 2022 and we're like talking about Pancakes as a song that like is peppered into a set to make it better, because it's still so new it's just surprising that it's become what it's become, but it kills every time. It's never a bad song. And I thought it was awesome here as well.
To be fair, it is a new song, but it was debuted at the end of January, which is like 75 shows ago at this point, pretty much. So, they've played so many this year that Pancakes feels like it's been in the rotation forever.
It's becoming a mature
That's
song.
like 5 pandemic years. I mean, of shows.
Exactly. It's so true. Wow, they've played a lot. That's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, really, really awesome Pancakes. Rick was in the zone. A lot of very precise playing from him during this jam. But yeah, this was great peak. It's interesting, tracking how Pancakes went from in the winter, delivering like many 20-minute versions in the row to kind of recently, with the exception of New Orleans, maybe a couple others, it's been kind of a shorter, like energy boost to the set as opposed to a huge extended jam vehicle, which has been interesting.
Efficient.
I mean, it does pretty well at that. They did a bunch of different places, but most notably at Radio City, it was like a shorter version that was hot. That was a very, very good version of Pancakes there too. That was not on the long side.
Mm-hmm. And the one with Trey earlier in the tour was great too. Then we get Turn Clouds, which interesting pick for me mid set. Not something I may have expected here. We talked a little bit about last week how California Magic maybe didn't really translate as well into the arena setting. Obviously none of us having been there last night, we don't really know how it went across in the crowd, but I feel like this may have been another one of those songs that might be like a little slow to get going in that larger room setting. But
sounded beautiful though. Like his voice, Rick's voice is so amazing. And I feel like the beginning of that song, I think it's the beginning of that where it's like bluesy almost. And it's like he's singing it's just almost his voice. And I was just blown away. I mean, that's one thing that like stands out so much about Goose is just Rick's ability to sing. And that song was really such like a great place, like highlight of that for me, for sure. But yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, I love that song, California Magic. I wasn't at that show, so I don't know how it hit, but I felt like this didn't like totally destroy the flow of the set at all.
Turn Clouds is an interesting one where it's got a little bit of pep to it, especially like the Peter organ at the end. I was surprised by this because when they were talking about the show and a bunch of people talking about the show leading up, a bunch of people from the band, I think the band account, which is generally Peter and Jeff himself on social media, was saying, we're going to pull out all the stops tonight. And like this one doesn't feel like pulling out all the stops necessarily, but I do agree with you, Megan, that it's a good point.
Where's the Rosewood?
where's like Rosewood Heart or like some of these other kind of more epic songs? Or Born, which also didn't get played.
Jive 2.
That's crazy. How did Born not? Even I know that's weird. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would think they would play that song given that it's on the album they just released once out of these 8 shows when everybody's paying attention.
Yeah, and it doesn't take that long to play. You know what I mean? Like you can get in and out of Born in 5 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah. But so agreeing with Megan's point, though, and they haven't done this like a whole bunch this tour, and I said this the other day when they played This Old Sea, there aren't many like just showcasing Rick's voice kind of songs
vocals
on this tour.
Yeah.
And so this is an example of that, so maybe that's why they threw it in there, but
Rosewood,
not a
man.
vibe killer, but definitely like not pulling out all the stops either. I don't know. It's just it's a weird tune.
I would have
Kevin,
been
do you have any
happier.
lukewarm takes on the?
I would have been happier with, I think, a Rosewood showcasing of Rick's vocal talents. But to Megan's point, Turn Cloud still did give him that showcase, to sing. And I often like to remind you guys that it's not all the time that they're playing these songs for us who are always like keyed into these, type 2 jams and, off script jamming that they do. Sometimes they just need to play songs for fans,
So true.
Well said.
But Born and Rosewood are the songs that I, as a fan,
It's exactly.
It's all about you, Brian. There was someone out there last night who was like, "Thank God they played Turn Clouds instead of Born and Rosewood."
Oh,
I mean, it's a chase. Some people do love that song and do chase it. They don't play it all that often.
It's a good song.
Well, this year they do, but
yeah. And then we get Dripfield, which I stupidly did not put on my fantasy picks for last night.
We all knew it was coming.
Yeah, it was obvious. It's one of those things where as soon as you think of it, it's like, oh yeah, of course they're going to play Dripfield tonight. And as always, Dripfield hits, like always.
It's a primal banger, so
yes,
it's always going to hit.
But the only thing that surprised me was that Trey didn't play Dripfield with them. Because I really thought, that was the only song, that was the only sit-in from Radio City that they hadn't repeated. And so I really thought Rockdale and Dripfield was going to close out the Goose set with Trey. So that was the only thing that surprised me. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, Dripfield in the arena, that's got to hit nice. And a decent version too. I mean, they didn't cut it short. They really gave it everything. So, super psyched at that, that came out where it did, Trey or not. And then, I mean, feel free to go back to Dripfield, but just coming out of Dripfield, this is where we saw kind of the first tweak, to kind of the scheduled programming as it had been going, where Trey came out one song earlier than the other 7 nights. So that was cool. So it's at that point, I think you kind of knew, okay, so one of two things is going to happen, right? We're either going to get 3 songs instead of 2, which is the kind of the more likely, or we're going to get, the 20+ minute treatment on something. So I was still hanging on to, the thin strand of hope for that Rosewood to come. But alas,
we all were.
I was ready to smash the quote tweet button on my very negative Rosewood tweet and really eat crow on that, and I was looking forward to it, and it just didn't happen. I wanted to be wrong.
A tragedy.
When they played Dripfield without Trey, I was thinking to myself, well, all right, so if they're not doing Dripfields and Rockdale with Trey, then they're going to do Cross-Eyed and Painless. That was my line of thinking. And there were a lot of people who were kind of hoping that. I mean, Goose does play it often enough where they could play it eventually. And I do think their version probably wouldn't mesh with the version.
How Trey plays it. Yeah.
How Trey plays it. Like, they'd actually have to sit down and learn how to play it together, which is really funny, but they would. And I was thinking to myself, like, what if they did Rosewood and then he kind of did that intro jam into Cross-Eyed? That would have been cool. Alas.
Oh my God.
No
that would have been cool.
Cross-Eyed.
I don't think I've ever heard Goose's version of Cross-Eyed. Now I'm going to be listening to that immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It sounds nothing like the Fish version. It has a pretty extended intro.
So
Mousetrap 2019.
No, Megan, 11/17/21, Kansas City. The what everybody calls the Reba Jam, which is kind of the pre-Cross-Eyed intro jam that Goose does, comes right out of Arcadia.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Oh, nice.
Go. That whole show's on YouTube. It's a great show.
And then Mousetrap also, for sure.
Yes.
I'm
2722 Bozeman, also a great version to Dragonfly. We're loading you up on
Ryan, are you writing this down for me, Ryan? Are you taking notes for me?
He will definitely send you a message later.
I will.
Yeah.
See,
That
that's always almost Megan right there. See, just like us on the pod. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, take some notes.
It's
always-
just a
But yeah,
natural thing.
We need to loop into the
important-
Google Doc.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, I don't know if I'm ready for that. That sounds amazing. I think that I wanted to talk about this drip field though, because I feel like it played so well in an arena. It's like such a perfect song for that, with like Peter going out to the audience and like jumping up and down. And like I remember when he did that at Radio City, and that was like my first experience of that. It was just so fun to see him out there. I really dislike how he faces away from the audience so much. Like I don't like how they have his rig set up, because he's so infectious, and I hate that like half the time when you look at the stage you see his back. I don't know why that is. Ryan, you probably know.
Yes,
but
I do.
It's
actually,
sad. It's sad.
Believe it or not.
It's unfortunate, and I know they've experimented with like ideas of different placements for the rig, but at the end of the day, when he plays guitar, he needs to have the pedal board at the front, because otherwise it's just like then his guitar pedal board would be at the back, and then it would be super awkward. He's either then facing the open back while he's playing guitar, or if he's facing forward and like the organ or something is in front of him, he doesn't have as much space to actually play guitar. So the front being open,
is the only way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was still cool. And I thought Trevor was just laying down some like amazing bass lines during that drip field.
Mm-hmm.
And the lights were going crazy. And the drums. Yeah. And like the lights they had, like where they were like kind of putting everything on like the people behind them. It just looked amazing. And I love the ending of that song. It was like so delicate. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Ryan. Nice. I saw that too. It looked incredible. Yeah. The stream was really cool last night. Good lights.
To the point about Peter and the keyboards, he was incredibly thoughtful about that. And he actually got on, I forget what it was. I think a bunch of us were there. It was when there was like briefly that thing.
Clubhouse. Yes.
Clubhouse.
In early 2021.
Yeah. And he got on Clubhouse.
Sunday Shenanigans with me, Brian, and Greg. That's a classic.
That is a classic. And he came on and he was like, listen, my keyboard rig is expanding, right? Because he had probably the Nord Stage 3, just the Nord Stage 3 for a while.
Yeah, this was before he had even debuted the Vintage Vibe. The last we had seen Peter's rig, it was 2 Nords and a clav.
Oh wow, he's had a lot.
So and he just came on and just like there was a bunch of us just from the internet chatting, and he was like, so like I don't know what to do, guys. Like how should I set up my rig?
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a really funny moment. And then he went with something completely with what was or different than what was discussed.
I don't even remember what we landed on.
It was a funny conversation.
But yeah,
and he apparently did spend a lot of time on it.
Yes,
but
I mean it's a hard situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But skipping ahead now, that drip was awesome. You knew it was coming in this last show. It had to be played. It is such an emblematic song of Goose's sound now, which is funny because it's still so new. It debuted in February, right?
Yep.
And I don't know. It just fits so well with what they're doing right now, and it fits so well in a venue like that. And this one, like Brian was saying, did have a little extra to it. It wasn't just like the drip field and out. So
Rick got after it. He was like, he was going for it.
It was great. And then, let's talk about this Rockdale with Trey, because I think, we all thought this was coming tonight. We all kind of knew this was coming tonight. Very, very excited, about this, and very excited for RJ, who got the Rockdale with Trey.
Happy for
I texted
you,
him after the song to make sure he was still alive.
I did too. I was like,
barely.
You got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
This was a fantastic Rockdale, obviously a fantastic song, but Trey and Rick just sounding so good on the jam here, and very well peaked.
Yeah,
and the pod gets results.
No, like it's just RJ gets what he wants. I think that's what it's coming down
RJ.
to.
RJ gets results.
It's fine. Let's just call it the pod. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. No, I thought the peaking during that Rockdale was like unbelievable. And the segue back into the song was seamless and just seemed like they had rehearsed it 100 times. It was just like this perfect landing back in. It was super satisfying. Definitely my favorite version of that song I've ever heard. It was incredible.
Have you heard the March 10th, 2022 version?
No.
Okay,
Put it down for Ryan.
Yeah.
Putting it on the
It's
list.
another one you're getting.
Put it on the list.
I think it's going to be interesting to go back and re-listen to all the Trey sit-ins from Portland through, because I think so. Rockdale was fire, and it was only 12 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean it felt like it was longer, and I feel like I feel like just in these 8 shows, Rick and Trey have that. It doesn't take them any time to just lock into an idea and just go. You know what I mean? And even at the beginning, I don't think that was the case either. But man, I mean, these last few nights, it just really felt like, they just, as soon as the jam hit, they're both just all over it. You know what I mean? And no time to feel it out. Wait for somebody to make a choice or decision. I mean, it just, both of them just on it from the start. So yeah, just super. We don't have the soundboards yet. And so I actually haven't gone back and re-listen of last night yet.
He's taking his time. Let him rest today. He'll get him up.
You figure last night was a big party night for sure.
Bandcamp has been posted.
Oh,
yeah, okay, cool.
Just as we were starting, it got posted. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go listen to that real quick.
You'll pop back on.
Yeah.
So should we take 20 and no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Full agree, Brian. That was one of the points that I wanted to make about the show, and I feel like this is Trey's influence on the band. Like Trey with Fish does get there very quickly, and Goose is not known for like kind of getting to whatever space it is very quickly. Like 20-minute jams are the norm. We expect like 20-minute versions of songs, and sometimes we get 20-minute versions of songs that don't really get anywhere. Like
Arrow.
We were like talking about Arrow the other day. Like that's a thing that actually happens. Whereas with Trey, like I feel like, I mean, you're getting there and you're getting there quick. Like he knows what he wants to do.
But that's also a relatively recent development with Fish. Like Fish in the 90s and 2.0, like early 3.0, we're still taking, there's an interview in the It documentary where, Paige talks about like, it may take us, 25 minutes of searching to get there. But when we get there, and, Fish now is able to like be like, all right, we're there, like, in 3 seconds. So it's really cool, seeing the development, as you said.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of what I was saying the other day, and I've been saying this a bunch, which is Trey's so immensely talented at so many things, right? He's an amazing guitar player, but he's also an amazing improvisational musician. And I think this is like an example of like his ability to find a space right away because he's just so comfortable improvising, and then get the whole band to go there with him. And then, this Rockdale, all Rockdales have an amazing peak in them. And then, adding Trey to the Rockdale peak, you couldn't miss. Yeah. You just couldn't miss. It was guaranteed to
harmonize on that main riff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
So good. So good. Yeah.
Amazing. And then, Elmeg, which was a bit surprising to me, to see this, though, in hindsight, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, like, they'll play Elmeg. But, where do you go after that Rockdale based on the pool of Goose songs that are left? Like, do they play Tweezer, which would have been cool? No, they do not play Tweezer. But Elmeg was a great pick. Nice hearing Trey on this one. And, I love this song.
Yeah, I feel like after 2 Factory Fictions,
we were due for an Elmeg.
It was why didn't we think Elmeg?
Where's the Dragonfly? I mean? 2 Factory Fictions and no Dragonfly.
Yeah, I don't associate those songs together, but I do associate Factory Fiction and Elmeg together. I think there's a strong connection. Yeah, and I mean, Trey, on the Elmeg lick from the beginning too. So. Just kind of goes back to that, and we've talked about throughout this run of shows, you can tell the songs which has been most of them, to be fair, where he's got it worked out, so yeah, super cool to see and hear Trey playing those lines, and we didn't get any more Trey vocals, which.
No Trey vocals last
night. Yeah, which slightly disappointed me. After the Redbird, I was really kind of hoping that we were going to see more of that, because I just love it. And I'm not talking background, vocals. I'm talking taking the lead on a verse. You know what I mean? I think it's so cool when they do that. That's the one thing that I would say I didn't get enough of. Was more of that kind of cross vocal. But this Elmeg and the Elmeg is it's just another good jam where, they didn't take it super long, but they got into it and really delivered a hot version of an amazing and kind of it's like a heart, this is like an emotional song, I think, to a lot of fans. So just a really awesome way to, I know it didn't end their set, but, last night of the run, really awesome that they threw that in there. I was super happy to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Really gorgeous too.
Has the intensity of the Trey stare at Rick been talked about at all?
We've talked about
just going back to what you guys were talking about, like getting going right away, like just Trey just locking eyes with Rick and locking eyes with his instrument, and them just totally being in sync with each other. Just phenomenal to watch it live.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I was watching with my husband last night, who's not a fan, and God bless him for sitting through all of this music that I make him sit through. But he was watching last night. He really liked Elmeg. He's like, I really like this song, and he was like, "What is going on?" The way that Trey is like looking at Rick. He didn't know Rick's name, but looking at him, it looks so intense, like it's so overwhelming, and it's like uncomfortable for me to watch. He was saying, "I'm like, I know," and I feel like Rick is learning so much and just operating under so much pressure and doing an incredible job. I've said that before, but I really have to say it again because it is not easy to have the person probably that you've idolized your whole life, like be standing a foot from you in your biggest rooms you've ever played, staring at you and he plays your songs and you're playing his songs. I mean, that is like, it's next level pressure and he's crushing it.
And to your point, it conveys a level of seriousness that Trey is treating that moment, and he expects Rick expects Rick to treat the moment the same way.
Yeah, Billy didn't look at anybody like that.
No, he did not. Billy wasn't looking at anybody.
Be careful.
I heard a rumor that someone was hanging out with Billy the night before, and it's not a rumor. It's someone told me this, and he said that he was asking. He was like, "So, are you going to do this sit-in tomorrow night?" And Billy was like, I have no idea. I don't know. And he went and asked his manager, like, am I doing this sit-in tomorrow? And the manager was like, yeah, I think so. And he's like, okay, I guess I am. No idea. Like 24 hours before. So yeah, that's funny. It's hysterical. Yeah.
Billy strikes me as a guy that doesn't get surprised by the moment though. So
yeah.
There.
Well, I think RJ was talking about this the other day too, which is Billy Strings is kind of somewhat larger than life, right? Mm-hmm. In the jam band community, you get like these kind of like normal people. Like I still think of Trey as like a normal guy.
Yeah, he's a nerd.
Who goes, he's like a nerd. Whereas
we saw the picture of him reading the instruction manual for Rick's new amp. Trey's the kind of guy you could run into at the grocery store and be like, hey, whereas Billy Strings is not. Billy Strings is like a full blown rock star, and so I can very much see that where like Trey does his own grocery shopping.
Yeah, I mean, he's a larger-than-life personality. I could definitely see him just showing up every day of the tour, just being told where to go and, like, doing his thing. I don't know.
Totally. Like rockstar style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like someone else is figuring all this stuff out. Yeah.
He's absolutely larger than life, which I think we are not used to as fans of jam music, which that's what makes him interesting. But this Elmeg is really, it's like a hot Elmeg. Like there's so much energy to this one, and that's typically not how Elmeg goes in my eyes. Usually it's a pretty meandering jam that kind of gets out into like airy, spacey territory. And like, I don't know, I don't go back and listen to Elmegs a lot because they're so rare. And usually when they're played, they're long and not like the most epic jams. But this one, I thought it was awesome. Like they should do Elmeg like this more often, but had a lot of energy to it.
With Trey?
Sure. I mean, you just have Trey show up whenever you play Elmeg, and then it'll be fine. But no, just like the energy that was in the jam in this song, it's atypical of the song, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
it's the Elmeg that Red Rocks needed.
Yeah, And also the drip field that Red Rocks needed.
The drip field.
Hey, we're gonna get. There's gonna be a drip field at Goosemas for you, Colorado.
There
folks.
should be a Goose Festivus at Goosemas where we get to air the complaints that we have about songs that weren't played in certain situations. An airing of grievances about certain songs not being
no
played
Rosewood on
situationally.
Caboose. No drip field at Red Rocks.
It's called letters to the manager.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good idea.
And let Jeff know on social media. He'll respond appropriately, I'm sure.
Yes.
He's really digging everything about songs that people have to say.
He let, for those of you not on Twitter who didn't see, he let everybody know yesterday that he will no longer be taking requests via social media.
That was funny.
And that he doesn't have any input into it. And he was very excited that he called the tour opener, I think.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't like Goose, you should listen to Arabelo.
Yeah. Somehow that thread turned into this bizarre Q&A about this random topic, which, like, it's so nice to have Jeff on social media again. And, like, we'll see how long it lasts again, right? Because he's always on and then he's gone. Like, poof, he disappears. And that's been like 2 or 3 times. That's happened already. But just having him around is so good because he's just a naturally funny guy. And, his answers to some of these questions has been hilarious. Did you catch the one today where somebody asked, like, what's a Arabelo?
No, I didn't. What was his response?
He said it's a special tie made out of minerals.
Oh my
which I get it, like, or below, like, I guess it makes sense. That's something he's thought about, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he's got Jeff. So back to the show. We get a non-Trey sit-in, the Horns' second appearance of the tour, and the set closing Hot Tea. This was really fun. The Horns sounded amazing on it. They didn't play it in the album arrangement, which had horns. But I think they really sounded amazing on the original Hot Tea. Personally, if I were going to restructure this set, like the sit-ins a little bit and have the horns on another song, I think I would have them do backing vocals and horns on a 726, maybe before Rockdale, and then have the set end with Elmeg. But this tea was still super, super fun. Great solos from all 3 of the amazing horn players.
Yeah, I was waiting for this one the whole time. This is like one of the first Goose songs that like kind of hooked me when I first started listening to them during like the pandemic and stuff. And this song's great. And I feel like it's just really like accessible and fun. And I knew it would just be kill with the horns. And it did. It was awesome.
Yeah, we definitely saw this one coming. No doubt. I mean, at least I did. I was like, this is going to be played in the last show of the tour. When they say they're pulling out all the stops, I think that means guaranteed hot tea. Guaranteed hot tea. And I'm glad that the horns came up for another song because it was very, very good. And everything the horns have done so far, well, the one thing the horns have done so far with the band was very, very good. So I was excited to hear that. And yeah, that's a killer way to close out the set. I mean, it's an awesome 3 songs to end it, and pretty cool way to kind of end the Goose collab part with everybody on the stage that they could fit, really. I mean, you're not getting anybody else from Tab on that stage at that point.
Anyone else on the tea?
Brian likes to talk about tea, so I
that's what I was actually
because he likes to talk so much about the tea. I was actually going to defer whatever time that was allotted to me. I wanted to give that to him as well, so he could just about this tea.
Yeah, Kevin and I once saw 3 hot teas in 9 days. That's
wow.
That's all I have to say about hot tea.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
So and when you look at so historically, I mean Neil's right. Everybody probably should have seen this coming. I think in my brain sometimes I'm kind of thinking, okay, well, maybe we'll get something that I like more. But it does tend to show up tour closers, special shows, things like that. So
when they're feeling it.
Yeah. I mean, it is like one of their bangers. They were going to play it at the biggest shows. So, I mean, it had to be played. And it's a perfect way to close it out. It's great.
Brian, do you think it's the perfect way to close it out?
Yeah, I mean, so are we talking about the tab set now, or?
Terrible.
All right, let's
great
talk about
song.
the tab set. Let's talk about.
Shall we?
Love
I mean,
it.
there's a lot of tab set to talk about.
Hey, no. As a wise man once said about hot tea, encore that shit. 12 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's a killer encore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, that would
great
have been
encore.
that might have been cooler because T was the only repeat in
We
terms
have a
of
question
Trace It
from the crowd. T or
Oh,
Kylie?
I mean T every time. That's I don't dislike T. It's for me. It's just a little overplayed. That's all. I think so. So T was the only repeat in terms of Trace Sit-ins with Goose. So hearing it with the horns was awesome. I totally agree.
Mhm.
T as an encore to the tab set might have been cool. I think that's one of the things that people were calling for is, hey, it'd be really cool if a Goose song got played as part of that end of show collaboration.
Yeah.
So I think, maybe that would have been cool, because if you've already got Trey and the horns involved, I mean, get everybody in on that T, make it extra hot.
Better than party time.
Extra hot tea.
Yeah. I mean, show of life, party time.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We
get
can talk
there.
about the tab set first. Solid tab set for the most part. I was a little bit disappointed to see that they didn't. We talked about yesterday how it seemed in Syracuse Trey was feeling a little more jammy. They were stretching things out a bit more. It did not seem like he was in the mood for that last night. Push On Till the Day, great surprise placement as an opener though. Really like that. I think we talked about First Tube, showing up in that slot and being a very predictable closer for Tab. So Push On being here was great. Otherwise, not a ton to talk about in this set. Another very strong Dark and Down. I'm really liking And Flew Away more with each successive play, I think.
Yeah.
I love Dark and Down. Sorry, Megan, go ahead.
Very cool song. No, very cool song. I think, I think there were some moments that were cool. One of which is just that Ciro at one point was playing a bow and arrow, which I just, during Love Is What We Are. And it's just like, what? I just looked up at the stream. I'm like, what is he playing? He was like plucking a bow and arrow. And then Trey said, a couple people were hit by Ciro's Cupid's bow, which is pretty funny.
I'm not familiar enough with their songs, but I feel like he did something with that bow and arrow a couple shows ago as well.
Yes.
Did he?
It's been there. And Trey made a comment, I think, after Love Is What We Are that, somebody got shot with, Ciro's Cupid's arrow and, who you are. So maybe there was a proposal somewhere happening in the venue last night. Not sure if I've seen anything about that on social media. Ciro also did the second time this tour, a weird, into his voice modulator mic sound intro things to a song. And, it was very, very exciting that Ciro was back last night after his absence on Friday. Part of his little, voice modulator spiel was he said, "Yesterday I fell in love with a rock." And all I could see during this thing, the camera's on Ciro in the background. I just see Trey just dying.
Was that in the Ghost intro? When was that?
Was it Ghost?
I don't know. There was
I don't remember
really
when it was.
Weird intro to Ghost that I streamed
Maybe it
till
was.
Ghost and then I went to bed and then I listened to the rest this morning. And so when I put in the Ghost this morning, I was took my daughter to really early morning hockey and I put it in as I'm watching her play because I'm watching, but I'm also listening. And it was the Ghost and I pressed it and I was like, what is going on in this intro? I thought something was wrong with my headphones. And it was he talked about something with morphine and it was just a whole weird thing.
So maybe he just speculating here.
Kidney stone.
I was gonna say he like tripped and fell and hit a rock, but that's probably a much more plausible.
Yeah, I ain't gonna get you morphine. Kidney stone might though.
Kidney stone. I had a kidney stone and I got morphine, so I can attest to that. Definitely. Yeah,
all right. Well, this is the official speculation
I'm
on
no
why
doctor,
Zero missed
by the way,
Friday's
so-
show. Jive Goose MD gives
Jive
the
Med.
opinion.
Jive Med. Yeah.
So
I
was
do
this-
want to say, I
Oh, go ahead.
think that the No Man and No Man's Land, I really love the Tab like do-up version of this song. It really works. It's so good. And James always sounds just super amazing in it. Just incredible. I love listening to that version. But the Ghost is great. You know, this is definitely like a song I want to hear Tab play next time I see Tab, is to hear them do Ghost, because I'm loving the way they're doing it. Sometimes almost medical advice. Oh God, we need some sort of like disclaimer or some shit for sure.
Like note, Jive
Don't
Goose
listen
to
is not
anything we
actually
say.
a doctor.
To us, yeah.
Hey, this is a great idea. I know we're going to get it slightly off topic here, but this is a great idea for the next mail sack. Ask us medical questions.
And we'll consult our
you're watching-
attorneys. Yeah,
if
to
you're
make sure that
watching
we're
right
not
now-
gonna be sued.
If you're watching right now and you would like to tweet us your medical questions, please tag us at
Oh
my
AAT
God.
Goosepod.
Yeah, getting
No
medical
pictures.
questions from people on Twitter sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, be careful.
No
this is like a
pictures.
Pandora's box. I'm not.
No
I don't think
pictures,
this is a
please.
good idea.
Oh my God. Yes,
All right, sorry.
and good point, Ian. Getting back on track here, there was no introduction for any of the sit-ins with the Tab set last night. It was just like, oh, by the way, Rick and Peter are on stage now, and
In
then,
sync,
you know,
baby.
yeah, and then suddenly, when First Tube happened, like, oh, there's Trevor, Jeff, and Ben. Like, everyone's here. So, but Ghost was great. Hey Stranger was great. Everything's Right was really good. Solid trio of songs with Rick and Peter here. Again, Rick and Trey.
What
Yeah,
does this,
I mean,
this mean? They're like one.
They're playing
Right.
really well together.
this is an
Okay,
audio
thanks.
format, Ryan.
Yeah, this-
You're right. My bad. Sorry. It's like alt text. I put my hands together to signify the fact that they were playing really well together.
Mind meld.
Oh man, it's true. I mean, I'm like running out of like ways to talk about how awesome it is. And it was again last night. I mean, the Ghost was something I was looking forward to, so that like happened, and I was excited about that. But yeah, they play so well together. I mean, what else can I say? Oh, did that happen? I didn't.
Yeah,
know.
that did.
Yeah.
Right, that's why
Did.
Ghost was cut a little short because of that.
Yeah.
and
Shouted out
Trey,
his guitar tech.
Yes, Trey.
did.
Trey
Oh, that's right.
made fun of his guitar tech for getting to kick back and relax normally for the whole show, but then suddenly you have to fix a guitar amp in front of 10,000 people.
Peter told a funny story.
Yes. Well, shout out to Justin Stabler, Trey's guitar tech. But yeah, Peter did tell a story which I remember seeing in an interview recently with him. But it was really a nice story about how at one of his first Fish shows, Trey made a comment about if there are any young people in the audience, like this is a pretty great job. Like, be a musician. And so
that's
it was really nice to, for Peter to get to say that on stage with Trey. And then Trey, gave him a solo later on. It was like, do it, Peter. Like, show him how much fun it is to be a musician up here.
Yeah. He's like, show how much fun it is to like rip it up in an arena or something. Like, this is so great. This is awesome. The whole like banter of these shows has just gotten better and better. And like, it shows like just the good vibes that they're all having. And it's one of my favorite things about Fish shows are like when you get that kind of special banter, and there's been a lot of it. It's awesome. When Trey's talking, he's like really happy.
Lindsay echoing in the comments right there, it would be super stressful having Trey stare at you intensely, especially when he's your idol,
Exactly.
So
For sure.
So it would be like having Jive Goose like stare at you, or Neil stare at you while you're making your fantasy Goose picks.
Oh God.
It's like same level.
Let's not do that.
well, Neil gets that from Nate. So yeah,
Inside
I don't know if
jokes,
you've
left
ever
and right.
known
Okay.
anyone. I don't know if any of you have known anyone in real life who does that really intense stare, like you're just having a conversation with them, and it's almost like they don't look away and they don't even blink. They just stare at you.
It's stressful.
Yeah, I think I tend to be like, okay, I don't really want to talk to that person anymore.
Was he alpha dogging him?
And also, this is these shows. This is the type of thing where I want to see a documentary made.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see this. I want to see the backstage footage. And
there is someone who was filming the whole time, so we're good.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that type of stuff. My fear is always that it gets treated as being so intimate that
they won't.
You don't want to put it out there.
I just want. I just want the footage. I just want the footage from the other day. Just like give me like an hour and a half of Trey and Rick just like puzzling over this amp. Like,
uncut.
Like reading the manual, like fiddling with it. I think that would be my most sought after footage from this tour.
I think what I want to see, if this was to exist, and if it does, oh man, it's going to be awesome. Like if they did a day of show episode for like the whole tour,
but it was like 3 hours long.
That was 3 hours long. I would watch every bit of it. But I want to watch Trey talking to Peter, because it feels like those two guys were like a friendship that was destined to happen.
Yeah,
totally.
I don't know.
100%.
They're just like they just love what they do so much. Yeah,
they definitely share a similar
love and light.
a similar joy they share together for sure.
It's like love and light,
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
They're just such similar guys. I don't know. I mean, like I could just see the conversations they would have, and like it'd probably be like the only kind of conversation that the two of them would enjoy. And like I don't know, like you'd just be like a third wheel on it, like, and they're just like vibing in their own way. But I hope that exists. I'm looking forward to it.
Bananas.
There's like eating bananas.
Two guys eating bananas.
Two guys eating bananas. It's their podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going to get some stuff out of it for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be really cool. And I want to see them rehearsing. I want to see them like learning each other's music. I think that's so cool.
Deciding what they're going to play. Like, what I would also like to, figure out like what did they practice or what did they speculate on playing that they didn't play? Because I'm sure there's lots of that. And, what did they want to play that they didn't get a chance to? Like there's so much behind the scenes that I love, but this tour was incredible. And let's talk about this encore here. In terms of repeats, if we were going to get, repeats of songs that had been played previously with this sit-ins, love that the llama came back again, hearing Desron rip up that intro again. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Slow
envelope
llama
filter
is just so good. And Desron needs to play it all the time. Like they need to like bring him in for him and Mike to do it together or something in Fish, because he just sounds incredible. And this was such a smart song for them to be playing on this tour.
Yeah, and I mean I love hearing Rick, play the solo that, leads back into, whatever the main lick coming back in. Just sounds really cool. He took a couple solos on it. Yeah, it was great. I've always liked Slow Llama. So yeah, super cool that we got to see that twice. And then what did we get next, Ryan? Was Show of Life next?
Show of Life, yeah. Very surprising pick. Not what I was expecting.
I feel like Trey plays this song when he's feeling really sentimental. And I think Trey was feeling very sentimental last night. And so this song is like, it's a song that's, I think, really meaningful to him. And, maybe you can say it's like a little corny, but I think the lyrics are great. And I think it's it's one of those songs that Trey has, like, he's in his feelings when he's playing the song, I think.
I'll take Show of Life over More. And I could probably rattle off a bunch of other ones. I like Show of Life. I never got the hate that I got. Now I can understand as an encore at a Fish show.
Let's just say
I can
right
see
now.
Well, you have to play something else after it. If you just play that, then it's like the most depressing thing ever.
If anybody has a minute, go listen to the soundboard of 12/31/13 when they start up Show of Life in the encore. Somebody in the crowd audibly yells "No" on the recording.
That is sad.
At
really
the end
sad.
of like the New Year's Eve show, like they go on for the encore and just like no.
Oh
That's
God.
So my brother is one of those haters. He immediately texted me last night and he was beside himself. I don't know. I thought it hit.
Yeah.
You know, basically
Yeah,
like
me
Once
too.
once I figured like no, they're not going to end on this. Then I was like, yeah, okay, it's good. I would have
like,
liked to hear, Rick or Peter sing a verse of it, though. I think that's definitely something that I was
that would have
wanting
been
more of. We
awesome.
talked about, Trey singing more Goose songs. I wanted to see more of that, Rick singing Fish songs. Like Trey's acoustic guitar was on stage last night. And so I'm guessing they were planning on doing an acoustic tune to start the encore, but they scrapped that. So I would have really, really loved to see, Rick sing a verse of any of these songs.
Same. I would have liked that too a lot.
And then party time. Yeah. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
another
that was really fun. Everything about that was just was fun, and like I actually like kind of juxtaposing those two songs together, right? Like doing this like really heartfelt thing, and then doing party time, which is like basically like tour is finally over. Let's go have fun, right?
Yeah.
And Trey
was
says,
like, yeah,
let's keep this fucking party going.
Right.
It lends itself
probably
well to the conga line,
Love
kind
the
of
conga line.
stage exit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can't do that to Show of Life. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like a funeral at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I love though, but everyone else was already doing the conga line drum thing except for the horns and Desron's just still ripping up the party time bass line, and I was just like, like don't stop playing, please.
So good. And then someone throws Trey a torch on stage.
That was shout out to Noah Ray. He brought the torch to the show and threw it up to Trey, which that was.
And Trey threw
really
it to
funny.
Rick.
Yeah.
Rick
missed it.
Yeah, but he missed it. But he threw it to him, and I just thought that was awesome.
Trevor,
and Rick was like,
I hope there's not some hidden meaning behind that.
No, it's just a torch.
I think people are already analyzing that.
Rick missing it.
Yeah.
Well, he had no interest in catching it. It's almost like when someone throws a bouquet at a wedding and like you have no interest in getting married, like people will just like clear out and like back up.
But then Peter is the guy that picks it up.
You're
right.
Back in March, and we know, they obviously know about all of the torch discourse and the nonsense that happens online. Like back in March, before they'd even met Trey or anything, I know Rick had said like at like one of the festivals they play that Trey is also at. He was like, I think it would be hilarious if just like during our set, Trey just walked out and like handed me a lighter, like, and then just left, like, and that was it. Like, but yeah, it's what. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
I think we've got a message from the backyard while raking leaves.
Yes, it does.
Show of Life was like the I love you, and then party time was like the perfect way to bookend the entire run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the perfect way to go out.
Yeah.
And then on the torch thing, just
there.
like one more thing about like the torch thing. So like it wasn't just Noah with the torches. I saw another picture where there was like I think like at least 15 torches. And I think what's really funny about it is like Trey wanted the torch. He like leaned over the stage and was like, throw it to me.
Like, yeah.
And I don't know if like I texted Noah this morning. He was like saying like that he practiced throwing it. Maybe he was doing that on social media, but like he was practicing the throw to Trey just to see what would happen. But the best thing about that whole video is the look on Ben's face, or actually everybody's face.
Yeah, when they see the torch.
They were dying laughing. I mean, they were already having the time of their lives doing that kind of conga line going out. But after the torch thing, it was just so much laughter and joy. It was just so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. And so many hugs, like RJ says.
So many.
A fittingly wholesome ending.
Go ahead.
To this thing. So yeah, just I guess my final thoughts would be sad to see it come to an end, and this exceeded all of my expectations. I didn't think too much about it ahead of time. I was thinking more about the data side of it, like what songs might they play and how might sit-ins work and things like this, but just
musically
the interactions and the love, and I expected high quality playing, but I mean, just the vibe was so strong. And I hope I don't think this is the last we'll ever see Trey and and Goose on stage together, or Rick and Trey on stage together, or however you want to slice it. I mean, we're going to see something again, but we may never see 8 shows in a row with this kind of collaboration night after night. I mean, it was truly something special.
Yeah.
It really was. And I think it was a big deal, for Tab too. I saw Natalie Kresman's post this morning that this was her first arena tour. That's a big deal. And I never really put that together because, you just see Tab and you think like is always sold out when you see Tab and, but you don't realize like you're seeing them in smaller venues. And so this was exciting for them too. And it was just incredible to watch Trey on stage with all of these, a lot of them young musicians just killing it and absolutely destroying in these big rooms. You sold out. It was exciting. And I'm really happy for everybody. And I think they all just stepped up. I knew it was going to be just a total love fest, and it was. And I think so many people have been turned on to Goose. And I think that some people have actually even learned more about Tab, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm one of those folks that probably learned a little more about Tab than I had known prior. One of the things that I would say is my big takeaway that just makes me really, really stoked for the future is just the genuine mutual inspiration between these musicians that were playing over these shows, and just looking forward to what's going to come out of that, what's in store for the future. So yeah, definitely a little bit sad to see it end, but what grows out of these relationships that were forged over these shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, let's go around. I think everyone their favorite moment or jam or sit-in or whatever, but your favorite thing that has come out from this tour. Mine would be, the first thing that Trey played with Goose in Portland, the All I Need. I think best jam played by anybody on the tour. Really incredible. And I already listened to it a ton, but it is still in my top 10 Goose jams of the year. So.
I mean, I just have to say, the only show I saw was Mohegan, and that whole night was just unbelievable. Totally attendance bias, but the energy in that room and the vibe and just so many moments. I saw Trey dancing all over night, like all over stage, the way I haven't seen him do that in a long time. It was just so exciting to see just this like raw energy and inspiration from him, and also just my favorite thing has just been listening to Goose every day and like learning more about Goose and just like really getting into them. I've been listening to them on and off for a few years, but this was really like my first deep dive, and getting to talk to all of you guys about Goose. I feel like I'm in with the big leagues, even though I don't deserve to be. So thank you. This has been awesome.
Oh, you deserve to be here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's they let me do it. So I mean, Brian, you got something?
Yeah. So, so I'm right there with Ryan. I think, musically, the All I Need is, that's going to be something that's going to be listened to, forever for me. And then, Trey on Matavan as well. I mean, the night Trey did Arcadia and Wisteria, 2 of my favorites back to back. And then Rick and Trey doing Strange Design. I mean, that was a really cool moment. And then Trey taking the, sorry for the lies line in Redbird.
The second verse.
Just love that. Yeah. Those are probably some of my favorite moments on top of mind.
So for me, I'm just going to go with those 4 or 5 notes in Hunger Sight.
Yeah.
That's Trey plays. So like, we talked about this yesterday when we recorded, but just the like that, that's it. Yeah, like just those 5 notes. Good. So like, if there's some way I could just play them back to you, I would say no words. And I would say my favorite moment is these 5 notes. And like, that's it. Because it's just so good. There's so much emotion packed into those few notes. And it's just wonderful.
For me, it has to be just the continued growth and interconnectedness of the fan base, which in my opinion remains to be one of the coolest things, not only just about Goose, but about this overlap with Tab and with Trey and with Fish, and continuing to grow those like-minded relationships. I think is just fabulous. Like it's one of the reasons that all of us are sitting here talking about this right now, as we've bonded over this music, and we found common cause over this music. Just real quick, Lindsay has asked twice about favorite posters from the run. I'm going to go with the Dave Clock general show poster is probably my favorite from the run.
Night one, the Zaz Corp.
Zaz,
she's so good.
Oh, that was
she's such an amazing artist.
That was the underwater one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
She's like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I
really
that
like
coming in the mail.
I really like the moon poster, and also the tree head one from Glens
That one
Falls
is
for my
really
birthday.
cool.
That one was cool. The one from last night was interesting. Quite the beast.
Yeah, it was very fantasy world.
Young adult fantasy novel cover.
Yeah, actually, that's right. That's been right.
And one other thing I didn't mention, the HF Pod, Always Almost There, Great Beyond collaborations have been a special, part of this run as well. I wish I could have done all 8. But some of us work. So
you play pickleball 5 hours a day, man.
Super.
That's work, buddy. that doesn't just happen.
Dude, prize money, bro. So happy to have to be on with you, Megan, today. Sorry we didn't get RJ back again and some of the guys from Great Beyond as well. Being on with Jonathan was really fun. And I think RJ said it the end of this Taboos tour doesn't have to be the end of our podcast collaborations. So maybe, as Goose Miss and some other things roll around, we'll be able to do some more of this kind of stuff because super fun.
Yes.
So fun.
It's been amazing. I agree. It has been so much fun recapping this every day. I'm going to miss it. Like tomorrow we wake up and there's no podcast at 3, which, it'll be nice to have a break, but then we have a month until the next Goose shows, which is a long time. But also, I believe, Megan, you guys are doing a tour recap HF Pod tomorrow.
Yeah, 4:30. We're going to do our kind of tour recap of the Goose Tab run. So hopefully
and we are
listen,
recording.
be there.
Yeah, and we are recording our massive multi-hour, recap episode as we do tonight. So stay tuned for that coming out very, very soon.
I can't wait to listen to that, especially once it gets into hour 2.
Yeah, that's the magic. That's where the magic happens after the 2-hour
sweet
point.
Spot.
That's what I
The
hear.
sweet
Yeah.
spot.
That's when Neil starts to go on his "I am the greatest" segments.
I mean, I feel like he kind of has like a spot to do that from now. He won the fantasy.
If this isn't the first time, Megan, we appreciate it, but we don't he doesn't need more ego inflation.
Yeah, don't encourage that behavior.
Neil, I got your back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think this is a great spot to end it, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to all 8 of these recaps. We will see you again soon, whenever that may be. But follow us, all of the podcasts.
Too many to mention.
Osiris.